Have you been with us so far because this is the last class. And we're going to need a telescope, not just binoculars. You're going to need a telescope because we're going way up there. And that's okay? You heard the other classes?
Yes. Yes.
Something?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Well, the last chapter, the last class, the last session of Madhurya Kandamini. Now I had planned to do a little bit of review because it's such a nice topic. We've covered so many points. There's Sadhana Bhakti, Bhava Bhakti, and Prema Bhakti, three main divisions of Bhakti. Of course, this subject is 9 stages of Bhakti, but 3 divisions, sadhana. And sadhana goes all the way up to Nishtha, Ruchi, Asakti, just before Bhava. That's all in sadhana Bhakti. So, the 2 characteristics of this sadhana, the 2 leaves that unfurl at the beginning and then they grow and grow. Kleshagni, Shubhada. Kleshagni, anyone not know what that means? Kleshagni and Shubhada. The destruction or eradication of kleshas and Shubha gives, sadhana bhakti gives Shubha, but spiritual Shubha, auspiciousness. And then in the Nishtha stage, of course, the seed, the Bhakti Lata beach starts with the seed, that's Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti. Something that I noted very prominent in the Nishtha stage. I'll just read. If the sadhaka is steady day after day after day and intense in their effort to be attentive in chanting, hearing, and other forms of devotion, then anartha nivritti will progress quickly, and offenseless chanting will be quickly approached. Sounds promising. There's hope. Such sadhakas are approaching the stage of Nishtha. So this is still in the anartha nivritti, but approaching the Nishtha stage is described here. Now, has anyone had the experience that day by day by day, intense effort to be attentive is not so steady? Not so steady. Sometimes more, mostly less. But if one does get to that, let's say for some period of time, you, in your hearing and chanting and other forms of devotion, become intense in your effort to be attentive, day by day by day, and somehow it's still not so satisfying. Something's missing. What's that something that's missing? The something that's missing, if you can get to that stage of steadiness, of effort that's attentive, steadiness in your effort to be attentive, day after day after day, start to cry out. For what? Cry out for mercy. Because these two things are very much needed. To reach that stage, there has to be as much calling for mercy as there is effort. The list doesn't get longer, it's just those two things, effort and mercy. A very nice example of this is the Damodar Leela, where Mother Jasoda is trying to bind Krishna, she's trying to bind Krishna, she's trying to bind Krishna. And she can't bind Krishna. It's always 2 inches too short, you know the story. But so something else has to descend on Mother Jasoda, and that's Krishna's mercy. Now Krishna's mercy comes to Mother Jasoda because he sees her pure love. And we don't have pure love yet, we just have effort. It's sporadic. Sometimes, sometimes not. The sine curve program. But we need mercy. So it's a very important part. I don't know how many times to say very. 6 times very important to be calling for mercy, and calling for the mercy from elevated souls that are merciful. I'll give 2 examples. I give 3 examples. Raghunath Das Goswami wrote in 2 of his writings, he didn't write lots of writings, but in 2 of his writings, he's making very strong appeal to Rupa Goswami. With straw in his teeth, he's appealing to Rupa Goswami to get his mercy, birth after birth. He's not praying for liberation. Moksha is not his aspiration. His aspiration is the lotus feet of Rupa Goswami, and that's far beyond liberation. And he's sincere, very deep, very profound. He's already there, and he's calling for the mercy of Rupa Goswami. Another really nice example, at the end of every chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita, what does Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami pray for? The mercy of Rupa Raghunath. And he's already there. And he's, whatever he was, 90 plus years old. But, you know, immersed in the ocean of transcendental knowledge and transcendental devotion and mercy of all the Vaishnavas, he's already there. And he's praying for the mercy of Rupa and Raghunath. Always praying for their mercy. That refrain at the end of every chapter. And he had no idea, because of his age and his condition of his body, etc., that he would be able to finish. He finished by the mercy of Rupa and Raghunath. And I narrated this other one. There's so many, but another one that I really like. Another one that I really like is Har Srila Prabhupada. And this nice story is Madhusudana Das Babaji giving an interview for some devotees that were writing biography about Prabhupada, what it was like when Prabhupada was living at the Radha Damodar temple before he went on Javaduta. At night, between midnight and 1 o'clock, Madhusudana Das Babaji, who was living in a space, a little room, Babaji-sized room, that was a little bit above where Prabhupada's room, because Prabhupada's room was on the ground floor and his was up a little bit. And every night, or regularly, not every night, regularly he would hear a voice, someone crying, chanting Krishna's name and calling Rupa Goswami, calling his spiritual master, Guru Maharaj, Rupa Goswami, please give me the strength, give me the ability to perform this service. And crying. He didn't know what it was until this interview says, one night, it was a full moon night, so he could see. And he looked down, and there was Prabhupada on his hands and knees with one of those brooms in front of Rupa Goswami's Samadhi, sweeping in front of Rupa Goswami's Samadhi, calling to him to please give him the strength, give him the capacity to perform Mission Impossible, and chanting loudly for a long time. Now, we don't need to make a comparison between Prabhupada's situation at that time and Rupa Goswami and Raghunath Das Goswami and Krishna Das Kaviraj. But the mood is the same, the mood of calling for mercy, and it's not light. And it's not, sometimes it's deep and profound. So that's a qualification for very elevated stages of bhakti. And that's what we're speaking about. This is the final chapter, it's Bhava Bhakti. It's at the mature stage of Bhava in Prema Bhakti realm. So in Nishtha, I'll read it again, I like it. Steady, day after day after day, and intense in their effort to be attentive in chanting, hearing, and other forms of devotion. Anarjana Vritti will progress quickly, and offenseless chanting will be quickly approached. Nishtha, and that's Nishtha. And then after Nishtha comes Ruchi. Ruchi. Here's the characteristic of attaining Ruchi. When the devotee takes into his heart, becomes very poetic, the golden medallion of bhakti, shining brightly by the fire of steady practice, and then he adds something else. Before it was mercy, now it's propelled by its own energy. We discussed this. This is review. To help us remember how elevated this is. Propelled by its own energy. So that the effort is there, the practice has been steady day after day after day for a prolonged period of time, exactly as Patanjali says what yoga practice is. And now it has its own energy. You can say spontaneous. That then Ruchi appears. And then Asakti. And then comes Bhava. Again, poetic. The blossoming of a cluster of flowers. We saw the blossoming of a cluster of flowers in the graphic design. With an outer and inner luster. So that outer and inner luster again is poetic, and it's the two characteristics of Bhava Bhakti. Who remembers the two characteristics? So, Kleshagni and Shubhada. This is the Nectar Devotion quiz. Mm-hmm. And then, in Bhava stage, what are the two? Rarely achieved. What's the Sanskrit for rarely achieved? Sudurlabha. Durlabha. Sudurlabha. Labha means to obtain. Durlabha is rare to obtain. Sudurlabha. Bhava is not around the corner. It's up there. Rarely achieved. But that's where we want to go. Not just like feel something, but attain the stage where it's spontaneous. Attraction for Krishna. And moksha, loku takrit, deriding even the conception of liberation. Now, it's one thing to say, that's not what I'm interested in. There's another thing, it's pale. It's inconsequential, deriding in that sense. And now we're ready for the telescopes chapter. The chapter on fulfilling of the heart's desire. Very nice. Pure love of Sri Krishna. So there's our chart or graphic. There's both at the bottom is the Sakti, that's the buds. Bhava is where the buds start to blossom, and at the top is the blossom that becomes fully opened. And those 5 petals are indicating the 5 rasas. We had this nice lesson on rasas are the mature stage of Sthayi Bhava, and when the Sthayi Bhava becomes turned by the other 4 bhavas, it turns into rasa, or taste. And there's the 5. And to the left and to the right, that small print there, is indicating the 2 characteristics, making 6. 2 plus 2 plus 2 makes 6. The 6 characteristics. So the characteristic 1 is incalculable bliss, Sandrananda. It's just a symptom. It's a lakshana. It's a characteristic of the prema stage. And it's the only means for attracting Krishna. Krishna Karshini. Shri Krishna Karshini. Prema. The only means for attracting Krishna. And when Krishna becomes attracted, he starts exhibiting characteristics that are exceptional. You know, this nice description in Nectar Devotion. When Krishna sees Radha, the beauty of Radha, he's so happy he becomes more beautiful. When Radha sees him becoming more beautiful, she becomes very joyful and more beautiful. And there's an unending crescendo competition between their beauties. But it's so Krishna's attracted. The only attraction is prema. So other qualities, those are the 2 primary. Here's more. It transforms material emotions into spiritual. That would be very nice. The power to attract Krishna, so already mentioned. Devotees lose sense of self-consciousness. That is, we're no longer at the center. We're at the center is material, and it's no longer. The self-consciousness of that, now like you lose who you are, but you're not at the center. Krishna's at the center. Anxiety for darshan. Anxiety, that's a negative emotion. But anxiety for darshan of Krishna is certainly a positive emotion. Or intense eagerness, you can say. Obsession. Obsessive. Realization. We mentioned this earlier. Sporti means a glimpse, a moment's glimpse, a blink of the eye. But that can happen at earlier stages as well. What's that?
Motion detection.
Huh?
Motion detection of the front.
Motion detector, okay. Okay. Just in case. You're not burglars, right? Okay. Krishna's form, Krishna's pastimes, Krishna's sweetness. Krishna's form, Krishna's pastimes, Krishna's sweetness. Realization of it. Realization means experience. Order of this revelation. So, according to connoisseurs, or those who have actually experienced all these realizations, it happens sequentially. First, the Lord's beauty, so this form, nama rupa, and seeing the form and the beauty of the Lord, one becomes struck with wonder. And sequentially, the Lord's voice, He may speak to you. Prabhupada said this about deity worship, you probably heard. This is in Los Angeles. You serve Rukmini Dwarkadish very nicely, with real love and real devotion. And one day, he will speak with you, and he will say, I am like this. Now, it's known that elevated Vaishnavas would have conversation with deities. Prabhupada, without the particulars, there's examples when Prabhupada would have conversation with deities. One could, the Pujari could hear, and Prabhupada's assistant could hear Prabhupada speaking. They couldn't hear the reply, but there was a conversation between Prabhupada and the deities. And it wasn't public, and it wasn't being showy, but it was very intimate. So, experiencing the Lord's voice, experiencing the Lord's fragrance, experience the Lord's touch. These are described with some detail in the Madhurya Kadamini. The Lord's taste, one wants to taste the Lord with one's tongue. Experience the Lord's generosity, experiencing the Lord's compassion. This is so the science of rasa is there's the abode of love, the object of love, and the exchange of love. So this is from the side of the abode of love, experiencing the object of love. And then different rasas, as all of those things are moving, then also the rasas are moving. Krishna may place his lotus feet on one's head. I mean, I don't know if the deity is going to do that, but the form of Krishna may do that. Krishna may grasp your hands. Krishna, in parental affection, he may wipe away tears with his hands. He takes that relationship with his devotee. The devotee has some relationship like that with him also. So there's different rasas, and when that happens, one may faint. And then when that faint comes revived, those in conjugal rasa get taste from his lips. They faint again. Krishna bestows generosity, Odarya, by providing all revelations simultaneously. One gets overwhelmed. Probably one will faint too. Craving for Krishna increases. This time, that doesn't end. Internal conflicts and waves of emotion, and different emotions start crashing against one another like waves crashing against one another. One heart starts going mad. All of the senses get the power to perform activities of other senses. It's another world. It defies mundane logic, it sure does. And now, there's supposed to be 7, this here it says 9, because next is Krishna starts revealing his special mercy, or Kripa Shakti, or Karunya Shakti. And according to Madhurya Kadamini, I told you we need a telescope. There's 8 petals. He goes into it a little bit, not extensively, but in Rupa Goswami's writings, he goes into it extensively, in details and details. These are names of Shaktis, Vimala Shakti, Karshani Shakti, etc. Prabhupada Savi, Satya, Ishani, Shakti, 8 Kripa Shaktis, and they appear in different forms. What's that like? Which these different forms melt the heart of Krishna and attracts him. So this is when the devotee is experiencing this Kripa Shakti touching their heart, they become transformed in such a way that Krishna becomes attracted. It's like, the simpler example is Krishna decorates his sincere devotees with good qualities. And when Krishna sees his devotees before him with good qualities, he becomes very happy. So now it's not just good qualities, but he's decorating his devotees with Kripa Shakti. And that the Kripa Shakti is transforming their features, spiritual form features and ecstasies. And Krishna becomes very happy seeing that. Wow. By his Kripa Shakti, the Lord's all-pervading free will, that's his Icha Shakti, influences the heart of his devotee, causing great astonishment, even to Atmaramas. It's like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu experiencing waves of ecstasy, and he starts talking like a madman. And he's beyond an Atmarama. What to speak of elevated Vaishnavas may become situated like that, but they just lose contact with external formalities and everything. This a little bit like this. It happened with it's in third canto Bhagavatam when Vidura is traveling all over the place, the various holy places, after leaving Hastinapur, and he comes across Uddhava. And he starts asking Uddhava about Krishna. And when Uddhava hears these questions about Krishna and Balaram and the associates of Dwarka, etc., he goes into a state of trance. He loses external consciousness. Vidura hit his Krishna button, and he was gone in Krishna land, just absorbed. But because it was an elder personality, Vidura was a very elder and respected personality. I mean, they're all in relation to each other, some family relation. And elderly, he wanted to serve them, so he struggled to come to external consciousness, so he could do the service that was asked of him. And once he came to external consciousness, he just went on this long tirade about Krishna. It's really, really a nice section. He's in this mood of ecstatic love, prema, and he's exhibiting the symptoms that are being described here. So, but the Icha Shakti is Krishna's Shakti. It's one of his Swarup Shaktis, one of his personal Shaktis. And by his Icha Shakti, the heart of the devotee becomes influenced. And the devotee becomes astonished by that personal directive of Krishna's Icha Shakti. His Kripa Shakti invites Bhakta Vatsalya to rule over the Lord's auspicious spiritual qualities. So what is it? This Bhakti, we're going to hear some more about Krishna's Vatsalya, or Vatsala. It's one of Krishna's characteristics that he has special kindness and affection for his devotees. And as the devotee's affection rises, Krishna's reciprocation in affection for such a devotee rises, which then the devotee feels and the devotee's affection rises, and it's again this competition. I mean, this competition is usually a bad word, but it's not a bad word. It's an ever increasing crescendo of feelings of love for one another. But it's the stimulation is being described here as his Kripa Shakti. And it grows, and it grows, and it grows, and it grows, and the devotee feels more and more and more and more. And it's this wonderful exchange. So here, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, who's already a Rasika Bhakta, is going to give us a close-up examination. Krishna's quality in Bhakta Vatsalya, that is his affection for his devotee, rules over all other of Krishna's qualities, becomes so prominent. Even contrary qualities become manifest in the Lord. He may say strange things, and do strange things, all arising from his profound affection for his devotee. After all this revelation, the devotee becomes overwhelmed by Krishna's Bhakta Vatsalya quality. Krishna says, I am conquered by you. Now he says this in many cases in his Brajalila, certainly in profound ways, and again in different pastimes in his dealings with Radharani. But it's not only with Radharani, it's his devotees. He's conquered by his devotees' love. And then Krishna reveals, it's not over yet, he reveals his transcendental abode. He reveals his associates, like Radha and her associates, to the devotee. He then reveals his friends and the cows and the river Jamuna. He transports the devotee to this spiritual realm. His relatives and servants. And of course his pastimes, and with all of these personalities. Then, so this is the subjective, there's the objective, and then there's the subjective. The subjective is affection. Beholding all of this being revealed by Krishna, knowing it, at least having some semblance of an idea of what's going on, although one is feeling overwhelmed by all of this, their heart melts. And that's this sneha. And when Krishna sees his devotee's heart melt, his heart melts. Mana. Sometimes the devotees wish to hide their feelings, and sometimes they use crooked means to hide their feelings, but they don't get hidden that way. Pranaya, when life, body, mind, and intelligence all practically become one with Krishna's. Now this is the spiritual, not the, the Sayuja kind. Pranaya, body, life, mind, intelligence, everything, practically one with Krishna, qualitatively. Raga, most intense feelings, hankering for Krishna's association at any cost. Anu, raga, even after association, one feels his enjoyment has not been fulfilled. These stages are not experienced in a material body. That's pretty clear. So what do we understand about these things? He's just revealing because he has such experience, and that he's giving us a guided tour of that prema realm. Other aspects of prema. This spiritualization, the I and mind, spiritualization, it's intense. Paramat yantiki. All material aspects in the prema stage, gone. Completely gone. Meditation, in contrast to seeing, one has direct association. Direct association. You know, Krishna's touch. Everything. Krishna's fragrance, Krishna's form, Krishna's voice. And all when this happens, what happens to the devotee? They wonder if it's just a dream. They roll on the ground and faint. They see Krishna everywhere. And then Krishna, he disappears. Poof. Oh, Krishna, where did you go? Where did you go? And madly running, where did he go? Where did he go? The goal of Krishna consciousness is reached, and that's the conclusion of the bhava and prema stages of bhakti, the mature stages. So that's Madhurya Gandhi. Pretty high. Pretty high. From reading this, it helps to get at least some kind of an inside picture of the states of ecstasy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Gambhira with Ramananda Roy and Swarup Damodar, and they know exactly his mood. They know exactly how to stimulate his mood by songs, by sayings, by everything. It's like Lalita and Vishaka being with Radharani. And so this gives us some sense of the science of it all, step by step by step. So we're somewhere way back down the creeper. Generally speaking, somewhere in the Anartha-Nivriti region. Somewhere in the Anartha-Nivriti region. And, trying to get our bearings and being a little surprised, or worse, ashamed at how much unwanted things are there. And then you cleanse, and there's more unwanted things, and you cleanse, and there's more unwanted things. You cleanse, and there's more unwanted things, and it seems like that's if you're working at it. And if you're not working at it, then you may not notice it so much. So there's obstacles, but that's okay, because it's a good place to go. It's our healthy, natural, wholesome state. Awake consciousness. In keeping it really simple, know who you are. Know thyself. There's this nice presentation they make for new people. There's this little TED Talk. Just change the mood a little bit. Ship of Theseus. Does anybody know what that is? You know it is because you saw it a couple of times. Ship of Theseus. There is a Greek philosopher. Who was the Greek philosopher's name? Huh?
Socrates?
No. He did one of the other ones, the short ones. He, no, Greek philosopher. I forget his name. I'll find it before we're over. He raised a philosophical question. So in Greek lore, there's the mainland of Greece, And there was a king named Theseus, and he was a big hero. He got in a ship and traveled to Crete and killed a wicked demon. The demon's name was something. And then he slayed the demon and then came back on his ship. So the people in Greece, around the time that he made this journey, they had a reenactment of this celebrated bravery of Theseus traveling to kill this Minotaur, this giant demon. And it went on for 1,000 years. And what happened was, in the course of 1,000 years, that all the parts of the ship had to be replaced, one by one. And so comes the philosophical question, where is the ship of Theseus? And one philosophical argument says that the ship that's in the harbor in the mainland of southern tip of Greece is not the same ship that Theseus crossed. Because 100% all the parts have changed out. And then there's a second argument that says no, because it's the exact replica of the ship. So it is the ship of Theseus. And then there's a third, is someone saved all the parts over 1,000 years and kept the parts and reassembled the parts that was in their backyard. And that's the ship of Theseus. So this is a Greek philosopher asking the question, who am I? Am I all the parts? Of course, our answer is no, we're not the parts. Neither is the ship of Theseus is not Theseus. The ship of Theseus, the body is not the soul. Anyway, just to get the audience a little stimulated on asking themselves the question, who am I? The body is the parts of the body is not who we are. And you can make a replica of the body so it's 100% identical with the present body. It's not who we are. So the question, who am I, is the TED Talk topic, and the topic of getting the audience to start thinking about it, and then giving a Bhagavad Gita answer to that question. But so that's just the starting point for yoga, because you can't go too far in understanding who you are if you think that you're who you are. You think that you're and then once you get the idea that you're spirit soul, then it's a big journey. And then devotional service begins. Brahmabhuta Prasanatma, the Sochati, the Kansati, in other words. Samak Sarveshu Bhuteshu Mad Bhaktin Bhavate, Mad Bhaktin, and then devotional service begins. And then devotional service begins, has these 9 stages, and it's way up there. We have a journey, and we have persons guiding our journey. These merciful personalities, those are the persons we call to for mercy. I mean, they're the deliverers of Krishna's mercy. You can call for Krishna's mercy. And they're the deliverers of Krishna's mercy. So we need to connect with the merciful ones who bestow Krishna's mercy and make a very diligent effort. This is the Anarjana Vritti stage to reach the Nishtha stage. And then keep going, keep going, keep going. Where it becomes self-propelled. And keep going, keep going. The 2 things, and I'm going to end. One of the explanations that Vishwanath Chakravarti presents in Madhurya Kandamini is that one way of describing the 9 stages of bhakti is its stages of faith. Faith in different stages. So the terms are stages of faith. And faith is something that's intrinsic to the soul. Divisions of faith is, if you don't have faith in Krishna, do you have faith in something? Because faith is intrinsic to the soul, and Krishna's answer is yes. According to the modes of nature, there's divisions of faith. And then there's faith that's not covered by the modes of nature. And that faith that's not covered by the modes of nature, that's bhakti. And with bhakti, there's stages of maturity that have different labels or ways of describing them. And prema is the topmost. That's one little summary point. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. I'll say it again. One of the ways of describing the 9 stages of bhakti is as divisions of faith. Or stages of faith. And then a second is sadhu sangha. This is now from Chaitanya Charitamrita, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is teaching to Sanatana Goswami about bhakti. Now he teaches elaborately also to Rupa Goswami, but the teachings on bhakti is, he's speaking about all the forms of life, and of the so many forms of life, there's some that are human, and those that are human, they follow Varnashram, because that's the base level, is regulate your activities according to the codes of social order. And then amongst those, the codes of social order, some come to the stage of Brahmabhuta, of knowing who they are. And the knowing who they are stage also continues to unfold and unfold and unfold and unfold. And then it's not just who you are, it's who you are in relation to the source of everything. And then acting in relation with the source of everything, that's Abhideya. And then Abhideya continues to grow and grow and grow. So Rupa Goswami, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaches to Sanatana that to come to that bhakti stage, it's the medium is sadhu sangha, many verses that verify that. And then he makes the statement that even on the topmost stages of bhakti, sadhu sangha is imperative, not optional. When one gets to that stage where bhakti is self-propelled, it's not that I don't need sangha. No, some Vaishnavas are more reclusive, and that's okay. But they still are eager when there is the opportunity for association. And it's essential, even in the topmost stages. That's so the second point. Bhakti, in its 9 stages, is simply faith, and the growing of bhakti, sadhu sangha is essential even in the topmost stages. I mean, for the raga bhakti's type of devotional service, it's association with ragamikas, but it's not just imagination. It's association with ragamikas. They're perfected souls that are eternal associates of Krishna. One can meditate on them, but one can actually even associate with them for elevated souls. So that's spiritual life. It's very high. It's not just be good, it's more than be good. It's very unique science and experience, and not easy to understand, not easily attained either. So there's our text. Madhurya Kandamani. Any discussion? Yes. All the way to that. All the way to that. All the way to that. Thank you.
Recently hearing Madhura Kalandani made me desperate to intensify my devotional service. And my question is, I thought effort, if I focus on my endeavors, mercy automatically flows. But
Could you
today,
turn the speaker pointed towards me? The speaker part pointed towards me. Thanks. Go ahead, keep going.
so my faith was my endeavors will attract Krishna's mercy. Today I heard that one should cry for Krishna's mercy as much as one is also endeavoring.
Yes. Isn't that nice?
Yes, but
Is that contradictory?
it's failing my understanding that if I should just focus on endeavor, Krishna's mercy flows automatically. Endeavor attracts mercy.
Well, it's a relationship. You automatically yes, but not mechanically automatically. Automatically in the sense that it's natural, but not automatically in the sense of mechanically. So what's natural is in a relationship, one looks to that person who I love for their affection, and I'm extending my affection to them, and I'm eager to receive their affection too. No. With Krishna, he's eager for that too. He patram pushpam phalam toyam. He doesn't need, but he's eager for those things because they're easy to obtain, and when they're offered with love, that's what he wants, not the things. So he's eager for that, and we're being eager for that is also quite natural. That's love. It's not conditional. If Krishna doesn't smile, then I'm out of here. If Krishna doesn't show me his mercy, I'm checking out. I'll give him, 2 more days. Anyway, it's not conditional, it's natural. Krishna will, and that's also natural. But it's part of love that one is eager for, that mercy. And Krishna is especially appreciating when one extends oneself with love and kindness and affection and service to one who is dear to him, completely natural. So we go to those personalities who are distributors of Krishna's mercy and appeal to them for their mercy, which means Krishna's mercy. We can appeal to them for Krishna's mercy, but we're appealing to them for their mercy. And it's part of a loving exchange. So you're right, and the other is also right. They're not contradictory. A real simple one is Mother Yasoda trying to find Krishna. It's real simple. There's effort and there's mercy. She finds Krishna, but there's a period of time where it looked like it's not going to happen, but she doesn't give up. Krishna sees. Oh.
But she doesn't cry for mercy.
No, but okay. What is her heart saying if she's not crying for mercy? Krishna shows his Kripa Shakti, specifically the same term that's used in Vidurya Idamani. Krishna exhibits his Kripa Shakti. But is she calling out to Narayana or the Lord or something? She's not a materialist. She doesn't see Krishna as her Lord, she sees Krishna as her son, so she's not praying to Krishna, oh please be kind and let me bind you. She's a Vaishnava, pure Vaishnava, so she's calling.
So that applies even at Anartha-nivritti stage, because the slide which said we need to cry for Krishna's mercy as much as we are endeavoring. That was for Nishta stage. So
yeah, that's in the Anartha-nivritti, approaching the Nishta stage.
Okay.
But the example I gave is within our experience. For those who are, to some degree, striving for attentiveness, hearing and chanting and other forms of service, not just mechanical, but attentiveness. So it takes some effort.
So, and the last one, Maharaj. So I'm crying for, we cry for mercy so that Krishna removes our anarthas and reveals himself to us. Is that the purpose behind that?
Yes, I mean, what I think you're saying, I'm not sure what you're asking. What I think you're asking, if the answer is yes. We're not the removal of anarthas, Krishna is. And relying upon Krishna for his kindness to remove those obstacles that are blocking. I'm just thinking, this statement about calling for mercy, a very important verse in Mana Shiksha is verse number 4. In verse number 4, this is Raghunath Das Goswami, Mana Shiksha, Instructions of the Mind. It's an essence verse that's outlining what the rest of the verses present. And it's Raga Bhakti. And he's instructing his mind, which he's instructing us, to take, if you want shelter in Vrindavan. So that's an aspiration. Then you must take the mercy of Swarup Damodar, because Swarup Damodar is the one who guided him throughout his whole stay in Puri, and Rupa Goswami and his brother Sanatana Goswami. I mean, he's already there, but he's teaching us the way of Raga Bhakti. So for Raga Bhakti, it's not just effort. The spontaneous is also, it's a spontaneous calling out for the mercy of these persons who are already there. They'll help you. But if you don't want their help, they're not going to interfere. It's love. I mean, that's the simple answer is love. It's a relationship of love. And the entrance of that love, that's the love of Vrindavan, Radha, Krishna, and all of the associates of Krishna in Vrindavan, because just as was described, Krishna will reveal. But access to that is privileged. And those that have it can give it. So his advice, read it, and the commentaries also, text 4 of Mana Shiksha. Real nice. Real nice. It's on the point of mercy, as along with effort. Go ahead, up front.
Well, can I ask you one question?
Just a minute, someone else has the microphone, hang on. Okay? Go ahead.
We came very much today. Congratulations.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a wonderful book.
I'm thinking over generations, Vaishnava acharyas and scriptures taught that bhakti is the highest potential that we can achieve and aspire for.
Mm.
It is the true solution to all the miseries and problems we experience in this world. And it is universal, regardless of gender, race, nationality, even species. And here, what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura is showing is what does this bhakti look like, and how it can be developed and experienced.
Well, it looks a little different at different stages, that's for sure.
In a way, he's helping those people who are under the spell of materialistic pursuits
Mm-hmm.
to rise above this limitation and to recognize that bhakti is really at the core of their very existence. And I think that's also what we're doing here in this assembly, because somehow or other we get to receive this gift, which changes our life, and we want to honor it, we want to represent it,
Yeah.
and we want to share it with
Yes,
others.
yes. Somehow or other, that's the Yadrishaya word again. Somehow or other.
And also,
The start and the beginning, and then in the middle and the end, somehow or other. You're, is it? Something further.
something further, because you're mentioning this satsanga, this nishta, this another anniversary. I wanted to tell a story from the book, which was gifted to you by a gentleman in Beijing,
Oh, yeah, okay.
and then
For a little background for the people who don't know what this is all about.
so
Let me give the background. The background is, there was, in Beijing, there was a japa retreat. And devotees from not just Beijing, but from all over the northern part of India came, very well attended, went for 2 days. And the place was a fantastic place, although it was in the city of Beijing, it was like it was in, ancient China. The architecture and everything. Just looked and felt like traditional China. And the man that owned the place requested he wanted to have a meeting with me. So I was happy to meet with him and compliment him for what he has done. And in the course of one of the very first things he did is he handed me a book that was about that thick. It was 5 parts of a book, all in Chinese, handwritten. He didn't handwrite it, some celebrated person handwrote it. It was like an expensive gift. And he knows that I don't read Chinese, but he gave me a gift anyways. Then he started describing what's in the book. And it's a book that, as he characterized, what children are given to learn traditional Chinese culture, A to Z. He didn't use those terms, but. So now, she knows what's in the book because I shared the content. She found the content online in Chinese. So now she's going to share something what's in that book. Go ahead. That's the background.
okay. The title of the book is 三字经. San means 3, Zi means character, Chinese character, and Jim
Could you turn the volume up a little bit? Go ahead, speak. Go ahead. Yeah, it's okay.
And Jim means sutra.
Sutra.
Yes.
Sutra.
Yes.
Really?
3 character sutra, and it's a poem written in the 13th century.
13th century.
It's 13th century. It's like have 19 to 100 stanzas, and each stanza has 4 lines, and each lines have 3 characters. So that's why 3 characters.
Sutras.
It's
Really?
basically a poem.
Is a poem.
Yeah.
Okay.
And in the 3rd stanza, it referenced a story about how Mengzi's mother was educating him. And Mengzi is a very prominent acharya in Confucianism. He is like 2-3 generations after Confucius.
Okay.
And
So is the story being told by the mother to the 3rd generation?
the story is about how his mother educated him.
Oh, how his mother educated
And
the 3rd generation personality.
he has no relationship with Kongzi, but it just, if you look at from a chronological view, it's like 3 generations after Kongzi's time. And so this, his mother, when this Mengzi, he is very small, his mother, they used to live close by funeral house, like a cemetery. And Mengzi, he is little children, and he played around and imitating the people, how they do their cemetery things. And his mother thought, this is not a sangha, not a nice sangha for my son. And so she moved. She brought Mengzi, and they moved to a new home. And that home is close by a marketplace. And Mengzi is observing every day how those businessmen are doing their business dealing. And again, his mother thought, this is not a nice sangha for my son. And so she moved for a second time. And this time they lived close to a school, a college. And Mengzi, every day he would see those people entering college, having very good conduct, have very good etiquette, and he also started to imitate that behavior. And his mother thought,
This is good sangha.
this is Sangha, now it's Sangha. And so now Mengzi has his Sangha. Next stage is, he begins his Vajrayana Kriya. He attends school, doing his sadhana. However, he has an artist at heart, and he don't like study. He wants to play, and he even run out of school to play. This is finally got to know by his mother, and his mother is very upset about it. And his mother has a loom, weaving machine.
A weaving machine.
And that day when Mengzi come back home, his mother, in his presence, took up the knife and broke a key component in that loom. And she told Mengzi, your sadhana is without attentiveness. It's just like this loom without this key component. It's useless. It leads nowhere. And so Mengzi got frightened, and he decided to make an effort to be attentive in his sadhana. And now he attains anatta-nivritti. And days after days of intense effort, like Nisha and then Ruchi, and finally he became what he is,
Okay.
a saintly person.
Okay.
And if you look at that, Mengzi, he is in a time that is 2,000 years before Vishwanatha Chakravarti and Rupa Goswami. 2,000 years before them.
Yes.
However, that nine stage model
At least 7.
Yeah, 7 stage mother bhakti is
You
still,
asked the question this morning,
is still,
are there other models besides the 9? Well, obviously, there's parallels. And obviously, there's differences. Because from the outset, what to speak of the intermediate, what to speak of the mature stage, there's something very prominent that's missing. So the unfolding of stages is there. However, one isn't going to get to the upper 2 for sure, or the upper 3. Asakti, attachment to what? Attachment to truth, or attachment to wisdom, or virtue, or you fill in the blank. But it's not. What's that resting upon? So I'm not contradicting. It's just. It's part of something that's helpful when presenting Krishna consciousness to a different audience, in this case a Chinese audience, to show the parallels. And the culture is quite similar. There's obvious something missing in that, making that comparison. But culture-wise, very similar. Elements are very similar. I mean, varnashram system and everything, very similar. Just one very important, prominent things, different. But therefore, it's helpful, the 2 things. Very helpful to know the culture and make the bridge to that audience. So it's it's smooth and relatable and comfortable. And then it's not like Krishna has to stay in a box. Krishna can come out of the box right away, depending upon the audience, of course. And when Krishna comes out, when Krishna emerges in the life of such cultured people, they can make very rapid progress. That's the second point. No, not in these days, not so many people are cultured because Kali Yuga has progressed and so forth. But where even there's semblance of culture, there's a lot of appreciation, homily that can be overlapping between Vedic culture and Chinese culture. There's so many things. There's so many things. So many things. I think we should go to some other persons that want to share something. Oh, someone had their hand up. Who was it that had their hand up? Oh, there's somebody online. Amritananda, you put your hand up. There was some lady that was going to say something. Who was that? There was a female voice that wanted to say something online. Is that someone still with us? Hit the raise your hand button, if you will.
Yes, I asked Prabhuji.
Okay.
I wanted to, for my inspiration, I wanted to know your experience with the Prema Bhakti in Krishna.
That's confidential, I can't share.
So that's the ideal inspiration that
Okay.
how
You're going to ask the same question again, I'm going to give you the same answer again. Go ahead, ask it a third time. You'll get the same answer the third time. Yes, I know. Amritananda, would you like to unmute yourself?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept Master Prabhupada. It's all very Prabhupada. Thank you for the class, Maharaj. My question was, you had shown the slide of Pranaya where the devotees, his body joins with Krishna. So I'm trying to get an understanding, Maharaj, of how is this different from Mayavadi?
Oh, that's easy.
One thing which came to mind was Mayavadis do it with a selfish motive of perfection.
Yes.
Whereas the devotee is only always giving. He is always giving unconditional, without anything in return.
That's not a small thing. That's a major thing. In other words, the individuality is preserved while the qualitative oneness, qualitative, not quantitative, but qualitative oneness becomes the experience. Now, in the qualitative oneness, it's always the servant and the served. It's always two, the servant and the served. So there's with that qualitative oneness, then that's the oneness that's being spoken of. But the mood of the dependent and the independent is unchanging. The served and the servitor is unchanging. Then when that stage comes of pure love, then Krishna may take another position. He may, because he enjoys the love of his devotee, he may take the subordinate position to Mother Jasoda or whomever, or Radharani, or one of the coward boys, Sudama, that always defeats him in wrestling and so forth. He's happy to take that subordinate position to his loving devotee. But so back to your question, the oneness is not the Sayuja. It's a qualitative, loving servant of the object of love, and that it's never lost. It becomes more prominent.
Maharaj, if I may follow up.
Yes, sure.
So, a devotee goes through these different stages and finally reaches prema. But my understanding, Maharaj, is like consciousness, Prabhupada says, is a symptom of the soul.
Yes.
So, if I may use the word, the effulgence of the soul, so to say. So, and consciousness gets expressed through a mind, and thoughts and deeds and whatever else it is. So at that stage, Maharaj, does the subtle body get purified? Like, does it become spiritual or it's still matter?
No, it becomes dissolved. According to the teachings, not even in the purport, it's in the teaching of Kapila Dev, Canto 3, Chapter 29. I can find the verse, I've found it many times. The subtle body becomes dissolved. You can look it up while we're speaking. Just put dissolved in Canto 3, Chapter 29. Subtle body becomes dissolved by the power of bhakti. So that means that's not just becomes spiritualized, but it's no longer material mind, it's fully spiritual mind. Fully spiritual senses, fully spiritual everything. The covering is gone, dissolved.
Got it. Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you.
In the back, somebody has the microphone.
Yes, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for the presentation.
There we go.
I have a very simple question.
You hit that magic button.
Confusion and consternation. With respect to mercy and the associated terms, mercies or mercifulness and mercilessness as well, do they flow? The pathway of the flow, is it only directly from Krishna because he's at the zenith, at the highest level, or might it be from anyone of perhaps only a spiritual level higher than myself, or even someone at my level, any fellow, devotee, let's say?
All of the above.
All of the above.
That is to say, Krishna, let's take Narada Muni. Narada Muni gives Krishna bhakti. He gives Krishna. And he's empowered to give Krishna and Krishna bhakti by Krishna. He's a Shakti-Vesh avatar. And the particular Shakti is Krishna's Bhakti Shakti. You're right? You're with me?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Now, can you carry Krishna's Bhakti Shakti? The answer is yes. can you carry it to the degree that Narada Muni carries it? Well, conceptually, yes, but your circuit overload, you might get, blow fuse. So you may not be able to, so you're able to carry what you're able to carry, and Krishna can invest in you whatever you're able to carry. But the carrying capacity of Narada is far greater than you and me. And so each of us can carry some of that, and Krishna has it in full. And Narada Muni has it in full. He has that capacity.
So can I assume when you say that I carry it, that
Yeah.
I somehow received it from Krishna and I have it?
Yes. But where did you get it from? I mean, you got it from Krishna, but where did Krishna empowered someone to give it to you? So it's Krishna's mercy, it's Kripa Shakti or Bhakti Shakti that you got from somebody. But it's Krishna's Kripa Shakti. It's a chain of disciplic succession message. Clear?
Yes.
So that, let's say, there's electricity in the house. Electricity is coming from the power plant, etc. And where does that power plant get its electricity? You just keep going, it's coming from Krishna. Electricity in this room is coming from Krishna. But it comes through, you don't pay your electric bill, they'll shut it off. So, bhakti or kripa comes from Krishna, yes. And Krishna can give it according to our capacity. Does that address your question?
Yes.
Okay.
This was a Greek philosopher, his name was Plutarch.
Plutarch, that's his name. You looked it up, right?
Yeah.
Plutarch. Ship of Theseus. It's just an exercise that in philosophy classes people learn. To stimulate them to think about who am I. Okay.
One last clarification.
Anything else?
You just stated about the dissolution of the subtle body is what
Yeah, the subtle body becomes resolved.
resolved. At the same time, one of the qualities of the devotee who goes to prema stage is who loses the sense of self-consciousness.
Yeah. Like who's at the center, in other words?
Who himself,
Who is at the center?
Krishna.
Okay, but losing self-consciousness is I'm no longer at the center.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the
Do you
easiest-
see a contradiction, or what's going on?
What's going? How do you? Is it similar to the avadutas? Like, are they in the same stage?
Avadutas? Not necessarily. Avadutas can just be madmen. They're not necessarily very Krishna conscious, they're just madmen. They're so detached from the world, they appear, but they're not necessarily of the stage where they're so immersed in Krishna and Krishna thought that the byproduct is they look as if they're avaduta. They may just be avadutas. Abjectly detached from the world. They're not necessarily totally immersed and absorbed in Krishna thought. Okay.
Any questions online?
I don't see anything online. You see anything in the chat box? Go down. Okay. I guess that's it. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah. Romapada Swami Maharaj.